missile work?
It's classified, but there's one here in Helvo. The inventor teaches at the academy.
Yeah, Professor Elliot. I worked in his lab at LaCroix before he went military. The missile draws power from refined emulsion. The more emulsion, the bigger the boom.
Courtesy of your big boom.
God.
How close were you to the impact point?
Close enough. That thing would burn up this entire city.
The saga of Delta Squad ended in Gears of War 3, so it makes sense that the next Gears game to be released would be a prequel. Gears of War Judgment is set years before the first Gears of War game, and just 6 weeks after Emergence Day. Instead of following the events that led up to Marcus Phoenix's imprisonment, though, we're given a story involving 2 of Delta Squad's other members, Baird and Cole, along with 2 new characters as the 4 of them make up Kilo Squad. Judgment gets its name from the story, where Kilo Squad is on trial for treason against the COG. The main story is told mostly through flashbacks as each member of Kilo Squad recounts what happened to bring them up to their standing before Colonel Loomis. As each member is telling their testimony, you'll play through their eyes, but it's not like this makes any difference in how they play. Like every Gears game before it, each character acts exactly the same, but you're just looking at a different avatar as you play through, and hearing a different personality talk about what happened. The story isn't anything that will blow you away, but it is a nice little insight into how the COG thought of the Locust Horde in the early days after Emergence Day, and how Kilo Squad's battle showed the COG that the Locust Horde wasn't just a bunch of mindless beasts attacking humanity like they originally thought. A second mini-campaign is opened up as well, called Aftermath, that takes place during some of the events of Gears of War 3. Unfortunately, even with Aftermath, the actual campaign time isn't all that long unless you end up dying a lot. Veteran shooter players can probably be through the hardcore mode in about 8 hours, main campaign and Aftermath combined. If you've played previous games in the Gears series, you'll get the hang of how it plays fairly quickly, but there have been some changes made to the controls. First, weapons and weapon switching has been changed. No longer can you carry 2 main weapons and a pistol. Instead, you can only have 2 main weapons at any time, and pistols count towards those. Also, weapon switching has been changed. Instead of using the D-pad to switch between weapons, the Y button quickly switches between equipped weapons. Second, grenade use has been changed. Instead of using the D-pad to select grenades before using them, they've just been mapped to the left bumper. A quick tap of the bumper allows for a quick grenade throw, and a long press allows you to aim where you want it to go. While these changes may take a little getting used to for veteran Gears players, the change isn't too jarring and actually works quite well. In fact, it kind of makes you wonder why the grenade system wasn't like this the entire time. It's fast, the quick taps are surprisingly accurate, and it keeps the game moving faster. Plus, with how grenade sticking has changed, it makes grenade use far more useful in campaign and multiplayer. No longer does one have to equip a grenade and then melee someone to stick them. Now if the grenade hits an opponent, it just sticks to them. This makes sense since the grenades have these giant spikes on them anyway. But sticking grenades to walls as traps has become a little less intuitive. Now you have to long press the grenade button and then melee next to the inanimate object that you wish to stick the grenade to. People Can Fly also made changes to the campaign mode, all of which I like. One change is that enemies don't just appear in the same way every time, so if you die and have to do a section over, not every enemy is going to be the same or come from the same area. This is nice as it adds a little randomness to battles that keeps you on your toes. The biggest change though is in the declassified aspects of each section. A big glowing Gears cog will be available in each area that when activated changes the rules of each scenario as the classified aspects of the testimony become available to play through. These changes are optional but give increased star rating performance in each section. These changes can range from specific weapons being used, to less ammo, to different enemy types, to time limits imposed or death results. And as mentioned, there is now a star rating for each section. Stars are gained for kills, how kills are attained, and if the declassified mission modifier has been activated. Going down but not out hurts your star rating though, so it's imperative to keep vigilant while playing. Multiplayer has also changed, but not every change is for the better. Game modes have changed to a more streamlined selection of modes. Free-for-all, a series first, Team Deathmatch, Overrun, and Survival are the main game types, along with an Epic Games event mode and a VIP mode for extra XP if you've bought the Season Pass. Free-for-all and Team Deathmatch are pretty self-explanatory modes. Overrun is a new class-based mode that has the Locust players trying to open emergence holes and eventually destroy a generator, while the COG players attempt to defend against this. It mixes aspects of Gears of War 3's Horde mode with Beast mode and Team Deathmatch. The COG players choose a class: soldier, engineer, scout, and medic, each with their own abilities. The soldier can drop ammo for himself and other players. The engineer can repair fortifications and drop sentry turrets. The scout can throw sensors that show Locust enemies on everyone's HUD if they're in range, and the medic can heal and revive players with stim gas grenades. Each of these effects is on a cooldown period. Locust players can choose between Tickers, Wretches, Grenadiers, or Cantus Locust at first, with more powerful Locust available as they earn points. Gone is the always fun arcade-like Horde mode, which is kind of a letdown. Instead, it is replaced with Survival mode, which is basically Overrun mode, but with all the players being COG and the computer controlling the Locust. While it can be fun, it's not as much fun as Horde mode was, to me anyway. It consists of only 10 waves of enemies while relying on the same objectives as Overrun. A huge letdown, though, is the lack of multiplayer maps at launch. Judgment only ships with 4 multiplayer maps to be played on. While the maps are very well designed, it's a shame there were so few of them in a game that has always had a very nice multiplayer focus to it. More maps are coming down the pipe, but in all honesty, this game should have had no fewer than 10 maps to be played on, even if some were regulated to specific modes. People Can Fly has again shown that even in the often maligned Unreal Engine 3's overuse of grays and browns, that this isn't the only way to use it. They prove that they can add color and make the destroyed beauty of the Gears series look vibrant and alive. Like Bulletstorm before it, Judgment has some very impressive vistas and colors in some areas. Mixed with mostly impressive lighting and shadows, as well as some nice fog effects in some missions, Judgment is a very good looking game. The frame rate is also pretty rock solid throughout, with the only noticeable drops I saw being when checkpointing in the Aftermath mini-campaign. The sound is also great. Hearing the Locust Horde, the weapon fire, and the one-liners spouted off by characters works very well. The music, while subdued, also works well. The voice acting is well done, and there's even a familiar voice to be heard later on in the campaign. Gears of War Judgment is a really good game, but it does have a few missteps in it. It's a worthy prequel to the series, but I feel that the lack of multiplayer maps kind of makes it feel like they took this prequel aspect a little too far. It is the 4th game in the series, so it really shouldn't have so few maps at launch, especially since other aspects of Gears 3 are implemented, like ribbons and medals, weapons, and character skins to gain. It is a fun game, but in the end, it might only really be long-term for fans of the series.
Well, I don't see any signs marked light mass missile. You know, they really should do that.